Mabuhay Kamustika, welcome, how are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. As you can see here, we've got some things packed because my wife and I were kind of thinking about our trip coming up. We thought in March, and as somebody married to a Filipina, we were planning on just going and probably spending a 5-day uh, quarantine in our house in Davao. Then a couple days ago, right after talking to our travel advisor, we found out, of course, that even green lane countries have to do the 14-day quarantine. So I just wanted to do a quick video explaining how something can change drastically and affect your vacation plans just overnight, I guess, with the Philippines. Now, because my wife is working full time, she's in school, she had 22 days to work with on this trip, and usually that works out pretty good. You get there like on the second day, and when you leave, you get back on the same day, believe it or not, from 10,000 miles away, just 12 hours later in the day if everything goes good with the time zone change. But with our current plan, with what's available at the airports, after looking at all that stuff, we'd have 22 days, but it takes 2 days to get there. And everybody then, even me, married to a Filipina, and she traveling with me, we would both have to quarantine somewhere in Manila for enough time to do a PCR test on day 5. Let's say it takes 3 days for that before you know what can happen. I mean, if it comes back negative and it's on day 8, then they'll say, okay, go to your final destination, which they know will be ticketed as Davao City in our house. And then we're mandated to spend another 6 days, whatever can add up to 14 days, quarantine in our house. That means everybody else has to leave. So that's not good. So it's already chewing up a lot of time. And let's say if you're in a hotel for 8 days, let's say each of us eat 2 meals a day, because we don't have to, there's nowhere to go and burn off any calories. So let's say we each eat 2 meals a day. That's 4 times 8. That's 32 meals we'll have to pay for. What could that cost? $320, $10 a piece. What would the hotel cost? Let's say, I don't know, probably $50, $60 a night. So, that could be close to $1,000 extra dollars right there. Then you got to finish off top off your 14-day quarantine at home. And then coming back, we haven't even done anything yet. Coming back, it would be an extra 45 hours to get back the way it looks right now, especially if we try to avoid Manila on the way back. An overnight in Singapore and an overnight in Los Angeles, that's not so terrible, except that it only leaves us with 3 days to actually do anything. 3 days to actually do anything in the Philippines. And if that's gonna, I don't see how we can justify spending money, probably $4,000 or $5,000, and spend 3 actual days there, and the rest of it locked down and traveling there and traveling back. Of course, you got to do your PCR 3 days before you leave here in Nebraska. Then on day 5, after you arrive in the Philippines, and then you have to do a rapid test to get back into the USA, and you can do that no earlier than 72 hours before you depart the Philippines. So what happens if either one of us comes up with a positive leaving the country, or on day 5 in the Philippines, or when we leave 3 days before we leave the Philippines? Then what? Are we going to be stuck there for a while? So it's really a bad situation. I don't see any way we could possibly justify going in March now, but we were assuming we'd be going a week ago. Not anymore. Now, can things change between now and, let's say, February, when we would have liked to have planned our tickets originally? Things could change, but I don't know. If it doesn't, we'll have to try like many others and just wait till maybe halfway through, or maybe more realistically the end of 2022 to get out to the Philippines. We'd like to go to a wedding. They're not going to change that date again, so especially moving it back. So who knows? We're just all packed up here and nowhere to go. We just had a lot of things packed up, but we're not obviously have the main things, but we did leave a lot of clothes and stuff behind in the Philippines the last time we were there in our closet, so we don't necessarily have to bring everything we're going to wear. So that's just our update. Let me know if you have an update of your own, if you're still hopeful. My wife and I, we've both had our vaccines, and next week we're going to get the boosters. We just want to get it over with and to be able to travel. So right now we can't even do that, it looks like. So let me know if you're encountering some similar things, what your plans are. I know it's especially tough if you guys have a woman out there you've met before, or you were planning on meeting for the first time. I don't know what to tell you. That's really unfortunate. Much of the world is sharing in these same things, and I certainly hope things change and we can all get back out there. But that's just our Philippines 2022 travel update here on Love Beyond the Sea.